My name is Ashley Jones. I'm a rugby strength and conditioning coach, and I've had the great pleasure of coming to elitefts today, and it's just like being a kid in a candy store when you look at the amount of equipment here in the compound. But these are my 5 go-to pieces of equipment that I think should be in every strength and conditioning complex for a rugby program. I really like the Swiss bar for my rugby players. I think most rugby players are going to have some sort of shoulder injury in a very, very short period of time in their careers themselves. And having spoken to numerous players, that after the first year of professional rugby, they're probably never going to be 100% ever again. So I think the Swiss bar, particularly on the use for the bench press, is ideal since it places you in a much better position to take the stress off the shoulder joints. Also brings the elbows in and allows a lot more work to be done for the triceps as well. I think this is the key bar to improve performance in the upper body, and it can be used obviously in pressing and overhead pressing as well as bench pressing. Swiss bar, particularly on the use for the bench press, is ideal since it places you in a much better position to take the stress off the shoulder joints. Also brings the elbows in and allows a lot more work to be done for the triceps as well. I think this is the key bar to improve performance in the upper body, and it can be used obviously in pressing and overhead pressing as well as bench pressing, and also very good for rowing motions as well, because most activities happen inside the body. There's not everything's happening outside here, so all the elbows are out, and this is really getting everything nice and tight. And any sort of pressing or rowing actions with variations of grip and a neutral grip places the extreme emphasis on the muscle groups that we need to be working for those particular aspects of rugby in a very safe environment, and that's why I would choose the Swiss bar first and foremost. The advent of the safety bar has really revolutionised the squat training. Plus it brings the hands again into that nice tight position. It takes a lot of stress off the shoulders and allows you to really sit back when you're actually performing your box squats, which we tend to emphasise over all squats as far as our training program is concerned. I think since the safety bar has come into use, I think anyone that squats with just a normal bar is really doing their athletes a disservice. I think the more speciality bars you can actually have in your program, the safer they are going to be for the overall development of your rugby athlete. It would be absolutely remiss of me if I didn't include the Prowler in one of my top 5 pieces of equipment for use in rugby, because I think when you're looking at a sport, particularly rugby, everyone looks at the vertical component as far as, say, the squat's concerned. But we have such a horizontal component in our running and also our tackling and our scrummaging that if you take just the vertical component into the training program, you're not going to get full benefit for your exercise. And that's where I think the Prowler comes into its own. Whether it's only over a short distance, say 10 to 20 feet, or say 3 to 5 metres is concerned as far as maximal loading is concerned and driving, or using it as a conditioning tool. I think it's probably one of the greatest pieces of equipment that you can actually include in your program for not only rugby development but any sport in general, because you're getting the best of both worlds as far as either strength development, loading it up and short distance work, or looking at conditioning work and variations of drills that you can do with the Prowler in the conditioning area. One of the biggest areas that I found over the years with rugby players in particular is the lack of posterior chain development. Everyone tends to be emphasised on anterior development, whether it's in the upper body or particularly in the lower body. And obviously we get all our power explosiveness from the posterior chain. So to have a piece of equipment like Glute Ham Hyper combo, we can actually use 2 of the most important exercises for the glute and hamstring combination area. So I think this great combination of 2 exercises in the one allows you to basically be able to do either one of those 2 movements, which is going to greatly enhance the strength of the hamstrings and the glutes, and also to work in the synchronous movements, and also improve that overall injury prevention as well as performance enhancement. I think the next piece that I would really include in any rugby weight room program would be the bell squat. I think the number of players that have issues with their hips and the number of players that suffer from some issues with axial loading with the bar on their shoulders, I think the belt squat removes all that pressure in the axial loading and allows you to get a really good squat and also look at the correct range of motion as far as the movement is concerned. It's also multi-purpose in that you can do pull-throughs and other more inventive exercise with the actual belt squat mechanics as well. And I think it is an excellent piece of equipment to keep players squatting even when they've got some sort of shoulder injuries that they actually can't even grip hold of the bar.